Hello, this is Joe Sonona from Sonona Speaks Seminars, and this is Coffee Talk with the listing pros in real estate. And my guest this week is Marco Taaffe.
Just Taaffe. A lot of people.
Just Taaffe. How are you, Taaffe? How's it going?
Doing very well. How are you today, Joe?
I'm great. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself. You come from the great state of Tennessee.
I do, but not originally.
Okay.
Tennessee is where I call my home right now. I've been here for 7 years. I originally came from the UK. I was introduced to Tennessee by a pure fluke. I played soccer back in the UK, and I came to a crossroads in my life where I had to either give up my soccer to continue my education or, look into alternative options. At that point, I thought, well, what about college in the States where you can continue your education and play the sport you love? So I went through a network in the UK. I had my own agent over there. He got me offers from all over the States. And I got in touch with a guy at Bethel University here in West Tennessee. Chris Baker was his name, and he happened to be English as well. He sold me on the school, the location, the experience, and it was the best decision of my life.
Oh, that's awesome. And then real estate.
Yeah, so whilst I was here at school, I actually purchased a few properties. I worked in the UK previously, so I had a pool of cash that I was able to use, which I was quite fortunate of. So I met an agent here by the name of Susan Bradbury, who is the owner of the company I work for now. Basically, through the buying process, I got friendly with her, bought a couple of properties for rental purposes. And when I graduated, I was sat in Susan's office and she said, "Marco, what are you going to do?" I said, "Well, Susan, I don't know. I do not know. Do I go back to the UK or do I?" And she said, "Marco, you would be fantastic at selling real estate." She said, "You've got the personality. You've got the commitment. Give it a shot." I said, "Well, Susan, I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. It's a big commitment." And she said, "Get your license, go through your testing, give it 6 weeks. After 6 weeks, you don't like it, you can walk away. I won't hold anything against you." Well, here we are 2 years later, and I love it.
That's awesome. That's a great story. And you might have accomplished the American dream, but now you got two dreams of working here as well as owning here, right?
That's correct. And people in the United States, and especially here in Tennessee, don't realize how lucky they are. The fact that they were born here and have this opportunity. In the UK, the tax rate and the expense of the country makes it very hard for people to get on the property ladder, period. Never mind look at doing investment, property, etc., etc. So the fact that, especially here in West Tennessee, it's a great place to be.
When my wife and I went to London in 2007, I believe it was 2008, we stopped by a real estate office, and realtors are not called realtors there. They're called agents or brokers?
Just real estate agents.
Agents.
It's a completely different process over there. There's no licensing requirements. There's no governing body as such. It's a very strange layout. Over here in our MLS system, if you listed a property tomorrow, Joe, I could go and show it. That's the way we do it over here. In the UK, it's different. Only the company that holds the listing can sell that property.
Wow.
So you often get one or two companies representing a whole area because it doesn't make sense to have 5, 6, 7, 8.
They want to be the dominant king.
It is. It's all about dominance.
Well, tell me your secret sauce to listing properties. What's the secret of your success? Because in full disclosure to our audience, we met on Instagram, and I have followed you from listing to listing to sale, and I asked you to be on the show.
Yeah. And I get asked this quite a lot. And my answer stays the same. There's no magic formula. You know, a lot of, and I get this a lot when you get a little bit more popular on social media, you get a lot of young agents or, you know, people thinking about becoming involved in real estate. They see these TV shows like Selling Sunset and, you know, $1 million listing.
Fantasy television.
It is. And that's what I tell them. It's reality television. You know, that's not how it goes. You know, you don't walk into real estate and walk away
Right.
with a $1.5 million commission off your first sale. If at all, you have to work relentlessly hard. When I first started, in fact, the very first listing that I ever had, it was a $50,000 house. And I got that listing just through talking to people. Look, I'm in real estate now. I was lucky. By being an athlete in the local area, I built a little bit of a profile that people knew who I was. But there was a lot of competition, and there is a huge amount of competition all over the country in real estate. No matter if you're in a town with a population of 10,000 people or a city with a population of millions, there's going to be competition, and you are always going to be against the guy who has the reputation. There is always that one name or names of reputation. So what you have to do, you have to tell yourself this from the get-go: I am going to do better for my clients than that guy can. And if you do that, word of mouth will eventually get round, and it will be people calling you rather than you calling them.
That's awesome. And what special technology do you personally use to market your listings?
So our company, we set ourselves apart from the competition. We actually have an in-house marketing director who works with us here at Premier Realty Group, which is a huge selling point in itself. You know, a lot of agents, believe it or not, around here still go with the stick a sign in the yard, walk through the house with their cell phone, click a few pictures. It may work in some situations, and that may have been the way in the past that it was done. Times have changed now, especially with COVID. People are using the internet more and more, and eventually, whether we like it or not, that's where the bulk of our business is going to come from. So we have our in-house marketing director, and we use programs like Matterport. His photography skills are fantastic. Lighting, something as simple as lighting can make the big. Now, we don't edit any of our photos. That's one thing that our company is firm on. Our pictures are raw. We might enhance the lighting by bringing additional lighting to the property, but our pictures are raw because we want to ensure that if you're in Chicago, Illinois, and you're buying a property here in Tennessee, you may not be able to come and look at that property in person. We want to ensure that you are getting the most accurate representation of that property.
Have you sold houses during COVID in like virtual showings as well?
Yes. In fact, last year I think it was 68 transaction sites at the end of the year. When I went back and analyzed my 68 transaction sites, I think about 9 or 10 I sold through video tour.
Marco, just for the audience's sake, because I know what 68 transactions, but what's that volume number count?
It was about.
Do you follow your volume?
Yeah, it was, and you might. It was between 12.1 and 12.5 million.
There you go.
And that's a big difference.
And that's as a solo agent, right?
Yes, just me. That is.
Congratulations. That's awesome. That is, I don't know of any solo agent besides myself that does that amount, and I've got more experience than you. But congratulations on that. That's what a victory, quite a victory.
And it's really interesting because I talk to people all the time, and they'll say, 68 transactions? You must be making hundreds of millions of dollars. And I say, well, no. If you look at the average property price in the market that I operate, our average property price is about $100,000 to $120,000. So if you want to be successful here, you have to have consistency and volume. There is no two. Now, you may get lucky and land a $500,000 to $600,000 sale. You may. But most of the time, your bread and butter is the $120,000 listings, and that's 98% of the people here in West Tennessee. That is their housing, $120 properties.
Interesting. What is your advice to new agents coming into the business?
Good question. Know your market. Do your research. Know your market. I geographically did not know West Tennessee because I wasn't raised here. You know, people would say, "Oh, Park Street," or Linden Street. Well, you have to know that if you're going to be operating in this industry, you've got to know geographically where you're operating, and secondly, you've got to work hard. If you want to get involved in real estate, don't expect to be having 9 to 5 because it doesn't work like that. In fact,
right.
The way that I see it is my 9 to 5. That's my downtime because that's when I get caught up on paperwork, on all my office admin, because majority of people who can purchase a home are going to be working during those 9 to 5 hours. So your showing time is 5 p.m. onwards, Saturdays and Sundays.
And Saturdays and Sundays. Whereas some young people I know, some new people I know, they get off, they take off that Saturday or Sunday or both, and they just free spirits, right?
You won't. I mean, you can do okay, probably, but you're not going to. And here's another thing: your clients are your clients. If they call you, hey, I need to see this, or this has just hit the market, or we need to go, you've got to drop everything. Let's go. The market's so competitive here right now. If you don't jump when they say jump, it's not going to happen.
What part of Tennessee are you from? Or are you in?
My office is located in McKenzie, Tennessee.
McKenzie, okay.
But I operate from Kentucky Lake across to Jackson. So I cover a very broad area. Just to give you an example, we had a client here last week, and we submitted an offer. List price $359,000. We submitted an offer at $370,000. So we were a solid $10,000 over list price. Financing was all solid, pre-approval letter, etc. That property had 24 offers on it by the end of the first day listing, and ended up selling for $25,000 over list price.
Wow.
And that's the market we're competing in right here, right now. You may have buyers and you may be writing contracts, but where previously that would result in sales, it isn't right now.
Your inventory is low as well?
Very low.
Yeah.
Record lows, I would say.
So what are you doing to generate listings? Do you have like some sort of a go-to, or do you have any type of technique or a routine that you follow just to prospect?
Not particularly. I don't have any manual or set of instructions that I follow to do this. We are lucky. We have a very good, like I said, our marketing director, Kelly Green, he takes control of our website as well. So our website is not sounding, not blowing my own trumpet here, but it's one of the best around. We get a tremendous amount of volume to that website. And from that website, we're then able to harness information. So then if people are interested in a property, it comes through. Often people who are looking to purchase a property often have to sell a property first. So you have to kind of juggle that situation. And people are. And if people now are thinking, I'm going to list my house, and they go on, and if they do their research and they look at us versus the competition, we are better.
Where are the people moving from to your area? Where are they coming from?
Illinois is a big state.
Okay.
Illinois is probably my number one. Seen a lot come from California, a lot New York.
You got my people coming to New York?
Yes, we have.
Oh boy. Hey, do you have anybody coming to New York?
No. No, I have a cousin who lives in New York, and I come and visit him quite regularly.
Nice. Whereabouts?
He lives on 79th and Lexington. So in New
Okay,
York.
but you got to come over and visit me in Long Island. You promise?
I will do. Next
time. Okay, lunch is on me, or we'll go to Brooklyn. We'll go to Peter Luger's Steakhouse.
Perfect.
Okay, there you go.
But I'll tell you this, what's happened now, people have realized with COVID, and I think this is going to continue when companies realize we don't need our brick and mortar offices anymore. You know, your banks and your companies with presences will, but the majority of companies have managed to function without brick and mortar. So that now gives people an option. I can work from anywhere. So what I want is the most value for money. Here in West Tennessee, we have beautiful homes, beautiful scenery that maybe here in West Tennessee would cost 300,000. Anywhere else in the country, you're looking at 5, 6, 700,000 plus. And then on top of that, our taxes are very low.
I bet the taxes are much lower in Tennessee than they are in New York, right?
Yeah, especially on the west side, the west of the state here, we have some of the lowest taxes around. Plus, Tennessee does not have a state income tax.
Nice. What is your advice to older agents in the business? If you could talk to an older agent and give them advice, what would it be?
People often say that I have a head on my shoulders of a 60-year-old guy. My broker, we actually, we work out of the same office, and it's actually at the moment we have a few part-time agents, but it's just me and him mainly in our office. He's an older guy, he's in his 60s, but we work well together. We call ourselves the dream team because often he'll get the listing, or I'll get the listing, and he'll get the buyer, or I'll get the buyer. We work very well together because although people of my age and my generation think we have all the answers, and that arrogance out there,
is there arrogance? I didn't even notice.
It's true, but you have to listen. These guys, he's been doing this for a very long time, and there's a reason that he's still doing it, and it comes back to reputation. It all comes back to reputation. And that's one thing from day one.
So if you had to tell him a piece of advice, how long has he been in the business?
Very long time.
20, 30 years, maybe,
mm-hmm.
Right? Like myself. So if you had to give us some advice, what would it be?
Embrace technology a little bit more.
Don't
be so resilient to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I find a lot of older agents in the business with a lot of years of experience that just so resistant to that technology, and I say to myself, why? It's that easy to embrace it a little bit better.
I sympathize because we were brought up with this. Computers, laptops, mobile phones have been at our disposal, since day one.
Yeah.
The older generation, if they wanted to sell a property, they used to have to put an ad in the paper to sell a property.
You know what we used to do? We used to take a book. We would get like a telephone book, if you can imagine, a big fat book like this every week when I first started in the business. And you would open up this book, and in addition, you would get these big tear sheets from the MLS probably every other day, and you'd rip up the tear sheets, and they'd have these holes, and you put them in the like a photo album. Mm-hmm. And if you wanted to look at houses and with a customer, you would say, okay, here's the houses, it's in price order, and you would look at that, and that's how you search for houses. Or you look at this little phone book.
It's funny you should say that, because my broker, one of his suggestions at the start of this year was, when clients come into the office, we need to have a book printed off of every active current listing. Well, the market's moving so quickly. I said, there's no way that we can keep on top of that. No way. But that was one of his suggestions. And he'll, if he was in the room now, he'd be laughing.
Tell your broker that I sympathize with him.
Our company owner goes crazy at him because our paper printouts, the way that it's done, somehow I think we're charged something per sheet. Well, he prints everything out, and when I say he has a physical file on every one of his clients, he does. And
that's why there's no more forests. Because we're using paper like it's going out of style.
Whereas myself, I might have the odd sheet of paper here and there. Everything's electronic.
Imagine if you introduced him to a cloud.
Ooh, it's dangerous. That's dangerous right there.
He'd be like having all sorts of anxiety, you know.
It would be problematic.
Now, there's a couple of more questions. There's one question in particular that I ask every guest, and then we'll get a little bit more personal with you. But if you had to pick one of the fiduciary duties of old car, obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accountability, or reasonable care, which one would you pick, Marco?
It's a good question. I've just done my 16 hours of ethics, my core classes, and continuing education, so it's fresh on my mind. I don't think you can genuinely pick one above the others.
Well, I know they're all important, but
They,
which one would you,
they
if you
work
had
in,
to pick a one, just
they,
one, and
they work in tandem, but accountability me
interesting.
sums them all up, and it goes back to responsibility and how do you as an agent succeed. The way I succeed is I get reviews from my clients. This last year I had 49 reviews and they were all 5-star. So
Awesome.
that accountability at the end of the day, my client can sit at home and say, Marco's got this, or I feel safe with Marco. That makes me feel happy.
That's great. That's awesome. And how old are you, Marco?
24 years old.
24 years old. You've just been nominated to be in the top 30 under 30 of the National Association of Realtors. What an honor it is. How do you feel about that?
Ecstatic. It's been such a breath of fresh air. It's really almost united our MLS here. We compete in a very competitive environment, but it was very nice when I got the nomination to have my phone ringing with all these agents and brokers from other companies saying how fantastic it is for somebody from this geographical area that, let's be honest, we don't always get recognition. Like I said, the TV shows, all that stuff, not here.
Right.
Not here. But
wait, let me just reiterate. Marco has been nominated amongst his peers in Tennessee to be in the top 30 under 30 for the National Association of Realtors in all of the U.S., not just in Tennessee, all of the U.S. So you have some competition here in New York. You have 2 nominees from my local area and yourself, and it's an honor to have you as well as they on this show. And I wish you a lot of success and a lot of luck with that alone, but just to be nominated is just a high honor,
It's fantastic. And if you look at the caliber of the candidates who have been selected to be alongside them, for me is, reward in itself. To even be considered amongst these people is just fantastic. You look at some of these guys, they've got their own brokerages, they're producing huge volumes. They're born and raised in these communities. They are the heart of it. One candidate on there, I think their family had been selling real estate for over 100 years. To be considered and to bring West Tennessee, Carroll County, put it on the map. Now, I'm the only candidate from the whole state of Tennessee. People sometimes forget about us down here. But we are here and we're doing a good job. And, we're making, hopefully, the National Association proud.
Well, you're a very good representation of a very great realtor who has put not only your county on the map, but yourself on the map. Because without Instagram, I wouldn't have found you. Just so you know.
So
and we look at each other's social media and we marvel at each other's social media. And with Sonona Speaks, I wanted you here because I thought that I wanted you here even before I knew of the nomination, because I recognize good talent, and good talent should only feed off of good talent as well. And you're an inspiration to all the people who are out there and wanting to be like you, success in real estate. 68 transactions. I can't get over that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Do you think that your accent has a lot to do with your magnanimous personality of attracting those people to you?
It certainly differentiates myself. However, Joe, when I speak to people back home, they say, they sometimes look at me, I start saying words that I wasn't saying 7 years ago. Hey, y'all, that's not in the Oxford English Dictionary.
And the more I talk to people from England, the more I'm adapting to words that American people have never heard of.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of crazy. We can't all live in downtown downtown. I can't even say it.
Downton Abbey.
Downton Abbey
That's
era.
it. But I'll tell you what, Joe, we have that many telemarketers and scam callers these days. Sometimes somebody will call me and I'll miss the call, or I might be on, the other line or whatever. Well, I'll call them back and I'll go, hey, this is Marco with Premier Realty Group. They'll hang the phone up. So I have to call them back 3 times to explain to them, no, I'm not a telemarketer. I am English and I just have an accent.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I think that I think that serves you very well. And I think anyone with an accent, the accent serves them well to the consumer because it's something different, it's classy. It really is. I mean, I'm from Brooklyn originally, so you can hear my Brooklynese in me, little accent from Brooklyn, from Long Island, But and one of my friends from Louisiana told me that I should be on a voiceover and do voiceovers commercials. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still figuring that one out.
maybe a retirement career for you there.
Probably. But it's been truly an honor to have you here again. And any last words?
No, it's just been a good talk. It's been really good. And I always say my phone is always open. If anybody has questions or concerns or they're just finding themselves, give me a call. I'm happy to talk to anyone at any time. My time is open to anyone. So if anyone wants to talk to me, go ahead.
Great. Thanks for being on the show again. This is Joe Sonona from Sonona Speaks Seminars, and this has been a very, very good interview with Marco Taaffe from Premier Realty Group in Tennessee, and he's also one of our nominees for the top 30 under 30 of the National Association of Realtors. Thank you, Marco, for being on the show.
Thank you, Joe. It's been a pleasure.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.